Kailub Russell ended last year's championship run in grand style, winning the overall of the series finale on an underpowered 150cc two-stroke. The new season awaits, and Russell will be back on his familiar 350 mount. Can anybody stop him? Welcome to an all-new season of Racer TV and coverage of the AMSOIL Grand National Cross Country Series presented by Maxxis. It's an AMA National Championship. We're back in Palatka, Florida, where we raced about 10 years ago for this, the Moose Racing Wild Boar GNCC. There's Kailub Russell greeting the fans as he heads to the starting line area. We raced here in Palatka back in the day. It was basically swamplands, but we found some new property, supposedly on higher and drier ground. We'll see how it works out throughout the races. Josh Strang, Jordan Ashburn expected to be among the contenders for this year's title. Also watch out for Daniel Milner, a new contender over from Australia. Very, very fast. We'll see how he can adapt to the 3-hour race day format. Also a revamped Husqvarna effort. Strang among them, but you also have Ryan Cypes, the converted motocrosser, and the always fast Thad Duvall. The number 6 you see is Andrew DeLong. So a bunch of the white Husqvarnas expected to be up front, but they're all chasing Kailub Russell, your two-time and defending champion. And we're off and running here. Jason Wygant giving you the call, and that is Jordan Ashburn going to grab your first All Balls Racing hole shot of the year. And he's got Russell already right behind him in second. You see the number 1 plate. And Strang is there as well, so a bunch of the contenders up front early. Could be a good race here at the opener. Kevin Rookstool there, the number 123, that orange KTM. Long weekend for him. He's racing an Enduro Cross, Daytona Supercross, and now out here at GNCC. He told me this morning he's already tired. Back to the starting line for the XC2 class. These are the young kids on the 250s. And one of them already down. There's lots of action already in this class. Tegan Temple, who came through the ranks of GNCC youth and amateurs, up front early, grabs your hole shot here. And some money from Hot Cams. Last year's champion, Grant Baylor, has moved up to XC1, so this title is wide open, just like the bikes here in the deep sand. And back to XC1, Russell is taking the lead from Ashburn and jumping over the mud hole. But as you can see, perfect weather today. And the swamplands that we expected to maybe have to deal with, not a factor. And you got a whole bunch of these Husqvarnas coming through. Wow, a rider over the bars. And a big pileup. I think that was Garrett Edmiston on the Green Cowie, trying to snake his way through there. No such troubles for Russell, who has already taken off. He's never won the opener here in the sand of Florida. Often has some really bad races, in fact, so a good points run would be good enough. A win would be a bonus. Still Ashburn, Strang, Thad Duvall, now up to 4th. And then it's the Johnny Campbell Racing Honda of Chris Bach, and Ryan Cypes right there as well. So a trio of Husqvarnas, 3 of them in the top 6, but it's the factory FMF KTM of Russell getting away. And by the way, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention Russell's teammate, Charlie Mullins, former series champ, out of action today with recurring wrist problems dating back to last year. And he would be one of the riders that could battle with Russell. So the door's open, potentially, for a 3rd straight title for the number 1. These guys back here are going to have to get after him. Bach, Duvall, Cypes, Strang, Ashburn. They know the target. That's it right there, that number 1 plate. Strang up to 2nd on the Rockstar Factory Husqvarna. And it looks like Duvall now up to 3rd. Also backed by Rockstar and Husqvarna. Fred Andrews running that team along with KR4. But it's Russell absolutely rolling here. And as fast as he's going, you see how smooth he is as well, saving a lot of energy. That will be a huge factor riding for 3 hours in this deep sand. Looks like Strang and Duval are going to try to hook it up in a battle for second on the Huskies. The next pack is Cypes and Bach. Bach always does well here in the sandy Florida race. I'm not sure exactly what it is. He's one of the taller riders out here, so maybe that helps him in the rough terrain. But he's had multiple podium finishes on different equipment. But right now they might be fighting for just a podium. The win is what they want, but Kailub Russell is making it awfully tough on anyone else to get one. Racer TV is brought to you by AMSOIL, by Rocky Mountain ATV MC, Kailub Russell leads the way. This is probably the most treacherous section of this Moose Racing Wild Boar course, this mud hole. Wow. If you don't like the line in front of you, just make a new one. Cameraman telling people to get out of the way. Riders are worried about the same situation as the battle continues to heat up for second between Duval and Strang. And Cypes and Bach. This section's really going to get a lot worse than it is right now. A lot of amateur riders out there in the A and B classes also, so each lap they come through, of course, gets further and further dug out. Whoa! Hold on to that thing, Jordan Ashburn. And you see the team people down there, the Yamaha folks in this case, pointing out the good lines. That's totally legal and really part of the game here in the GNCC series. As Russell continues to pull away from Strang. Looks like Cypes going to make it a 3-rider pack of Husqvarnas battling for podium positions. And this is just a thing of beauty to watch. A rider that's totally dialed in like this on this type of rough terrain, finding the lines he wants, using the momentum. And this is fun to watch too. 3 different Husqvarna riders all battling for one position, that's second place. Meanwhile, hammer down for Russell. Like I said, he has never won the opener in Florida before. But he has really stepped up his game all around. Back in the day, Kailub, who's not one of the bigger riders out here, really seemed to struggle in the mud races. And the technical stuff where you got to wrestle the bike around, pull it out of holes if you get stuck. He's really improved on that. Then last year he spent a lot of time riding with fellow KTM rider Taylor Robert out west to dial in his game on the rough and rocky technical terrain. So he's learned the mud, he's learned the technical stuff. Now, clearly, he's got it figured out in this high-speed sand as well, leaving everyone else to race for second, at least at the moment. That's a good fight between those 3 Huskies, though. But like I said, it's all about conserving energy in the sand. You cannot go flat out for 3 hours, no matter how good of shape you're in. So being smooth and consistent is really the key. Not hitting those bumps square on, trying to hop them, stay on the tops. And sometimes it's actually quicker to go fast. Or sorry, it sometimes takes less energy to go fast and be quick than it is to back the pace down, and then you're hitting a lot of those bumps. See the little mistake there for Cypes in that corner. He has gotten around Duval, though. Keep tabs on it. It's still Strang in second behind Russell. Cypes is on the charge, though. And look at Duval airing it out, trying to keep pace. Big question mark this year for Cypes. Last year was his first, as you see Bach going by. Last year, Cypes first as a full-time off-road racer. Spent a decade at the very highest levels of motocross and supercross. So a lot of people wondering in year 2, what kind of gains can Cypes make? So far, so good, running in a podium position. We go back to this battle for second. Oh, and they've gotten stuck, trying to figure out which one is which. Actually, that was Cypes who got stuck. Strang goes by him, so Cypes had momentarily taken second. I told you that section was going to get worse as the lap traffic dug the ruts a little bit deeper and deeper. And how about this? Got the Yamaha people helping Cypes and the KTM people as well, helping him get unstuck, and now Bach has gone down. And Cypes gonna get back around him. Swamplands of Florida becoming a factor here at the Wild Boar. Racer TV is brought to you by AMSOIL and by Rocky Mountain ATVMC. Action all over the place here at the Wild Boar, our opening round of the AMSOIL GNCC Series for 2015. About the only rider who has had zero drama to deal with is this one, Kailub Russell. Didn't get the whole shot, but took over the lead just a few corners into it and has really stretched it out now. Looks like Josh Strang solid in second, but that was not the case. Only a few miles ago, Ryan Cypes put on a real charge, got by Strang, then got stuck in the mud, and Strang was able to work his way back by him. And Strang a lot more experience in these races than Cypes. Strang, 2010 GNCC champ. He's been doing this for a long time. Cypes was really going for it, maybe going to try to run down Russell, but then got stuck. Strang looked to be running a little bit more steady pace, and it paid off. And through all this, Bach is up to third on the Johnny Campbell Racing Honda. That's a factory Honda effort. Honda spent years and years pursuing the Baja 1000 and Baja 500 crowns. They did some racing in the Enduro Cross Series as well. But good to see them putting their full efforts now into GNCC racing here on the East Coast. And Bach going to try to make them proud. See the Rockstar Husky people cheering their guy Strang on and pointing out some good lines through the mud. Stay to the side. Strang, the Australian, brilliant. Doesn't even get the bike dirty, let alone stuck. And you see there in the background what could happen. Ryder's got that thing totally buried. Here comes Bach. Nicely done for him. And then Duval coming through. Strang already came through. Whoa, hang on to that thing. That's classic Bad Duval. Not afraid to hang it out. Never has been. And a multiple-time champion in the GNCC youth and amateur ranks. Also won an XC2 title back in the day. As did Russell. He's a two-time champion in that XC2 class. So you've seen a real takeover these days of the born and raised GNCC stars. You still have the likes of Strang representing the overseas brigade, him coming out of Australia. And Cypes trying to do what was actually quite popular generations ago, the motocrossers converting and becoming very fast off-road riders. Of course, we're talking the likes of Fred Andrews, Rodney Smith, who racked up a lot of GNCC titles after coming over from the moto tracks. But these days, the path seems a little more clear. The riders coming through the GNCC amateur ranks have become the next generation of champions and stars, talking about likes of Duval, Charlie Mullins, and Russell. Now, Bach grew up in Indiana, raced some GNCC here and there growing up, not full on like Russell and Duval were. And also good to see, by the way, Corey Buttrick back in action today, also a former GNCC youth champ. Got a factory beta ride now. And we've heard the lead hovering at about a minute for Russell right now, with Strang and Bach still second and third. And lap traffic for your leader. This could be the break these other riders need. You see Strang trying to pick up the pace here and chop that minute lead down. The real danger in the Florida race, the lappers can end up sending you offline and into one of those mud holes where you don't want to be, and you get stuck. Some of the other races later in the year are a little bit tighter, and it's hard to pass them through the trees. But it looks like Russell has cleared that really bad mud hole one more time. and continues to close in on his first ever victory here in the Sunshine State. I believe it'll be 2 laps to go for him. Yeah, you see the 2-lap card out with Ricky Towery, our GNCC finish line official. And now lap traffic for Strang as well. And an interesting transition for Strang. Won his championship here on a Suzuki 5 years ago. Missed some time with a broken leg, tried racing in the Work Series out west, returned to GNCC's on a Kawasaki. And that was 2013. Last year rode at Yamaha, this year on the Husqvarna. Making it work right now in second, and Bach on the Honda, trying to chase him down in third. Racer TV is brought to you by AMSOIL and by Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Moose Racing Wild Boar GNCC underway. Kailub Russell has it on lock right now, barring disaster. This is Josh Strang and the Rockstar Husqvarna trying to keep him honest. And the Honda man, Chris Bach, still in third. Had a chance to talk to John Eric Burleson, who is the head of KTM North America operations. And yes, Husqvarna is a sister company now of KTM. And he told me his dream is to have an all-European bike podium at these races, split it between the KTMs and the Huskies. And right now they are first, second, and fourth with Duval back there. So Bach on the Honda, he is the lone soldier for the Japanese brands, but doing a good job in third. This section here looks like the type of sand berms and such that you would love to just tear up, but as we're past the 2-hour mark of this race, now they're just frame deep, chain guide deep ruts. Can't really lean the bike over with any kind of style. Just trying to get through without getting hung up. And I think everyone now is starting to experience some fatigue. Like I said earlier, it doesn't matter how much shape or what kind of shape you're in or how fit you are. This sand will wear you out. Here's Duval, not too far back. Still has a chance to make a late run with about a lap and a half to go. On Bach for third. Maybe they can get that all-European podium. And Duval going so far outside to stay out of those deep ruts, he's actually into the mud. And behind Duval, shout out, by the way, to another motocrosser, Tyler Medaglia out of Canada, also on a Husqvarna. He'll be racing the Canadian Motocross Nationals this summer on that bike. Came down to Florida here to get some training and riding in, and doing phenomenal. 5th against the best in the business, and he is actually ahead of Cypes, who's back to 6th. Then you have the NFAB AmPro Yamaha teammates, Stuart Baylor and Jordan Ashburn next. Then Takeshi Koikita riding a Honda out of Japan. He is in 9th. And 10th, Corey Graffunder, a contender in the Endurocross Series. Good to see Graffunder at 2 days after racing an Endurocross in Daytona, racing for a top 10 today. And here's Duval. You can see he is aggressive right now in that KR4 Fred Andrews Racing Husqvarna, trying to get 3rd place. That'd be valuable points. And I know Russell is the 2-time and defending champ and looks dominant today, but every one of these riders knows everything in this series can change in a blink of an eye. Last year, Russell was 2nd in points, battling tooth and nail with his teammate Mullins. Then Mullins on a motocross track had bike problems, couldn't clear a jump, and broke both wrists. And he has been dealing with the wrist problems ever since. So all these riders know it's a long season, 13 races stretching from today all the way into October. But as of now, there's no doubt about who the man in Grand National Cross Country Racing, heck, maybe all of off-road racing around the world. It's Kailub Russell. First time ever he wins in Florida. He does it in dominant fashion. Everyone else strong today, but they're going to have to come up with something special to match that guy. Josh Strang, 2nd in the series last year and will be 2nd today. Good debut on his Rockstar Husqvarna ride. And your battle for the podium, Bach going to have to push for it because Duval has gotten close. And these guys have to be gassed, have to be tired. Good job by Bach to hang in there. Always strong in Florida. And here is Duval pushing all the way to the end. It's a good sign for him, but he will come up just short of the podium in 4th. And you see our Rocky Mountain ATV MC results. Medaglia gets it done, 5th. And that's the top 10 as we called it earlier. Graf Under, excellent job. New to GNCC Racing, putting it inside the top 10. And your XC2 class, Nick Davis. The Husqvarna run continues. Ricky Russell on the Yamaha 2nd, and former class champion Jason Thomas on the Shane Watts Dirtwise KTM 3rd. Temple after that whole shot 4th. Craig DeLong 5th. That's the good news for the DeLong family. Andrew DeLong in XC1 crashed, broke his collarbone today, did not finish. Tough break for him. Here's your AMSOIL race recap. Highlight of the day for the NFAB and Pro Yamaha team was the whole shot for Jordan Ashburn. Kailub Russell on the number 1. FMF KTM takes the measure of him and everyone else quickly. And then the battle shifted to 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. You had Strang, Bach, Duval, and Cypes all in it. No one could touch Russell. He wins the opener for the first time in his career. That's bad news for everyone looking to fight him off for the title. Congratulations to the rider from North Carolina.